Welcome back to Ghost Pirate Entertainment. I'm your host, Kanan Becker, and today I give you 10 more recommendations on Netflix. And let's get to the list.
What happened?
Tell me what you did!
Stop running away!
So Incident in Ghostland is a 2018 mind-bending horror movie. Written and directed by Pasquale Lugiere and stars Crystal Reed, Taylor Hickson, and Maylene Farmer. So 16 years after a traumatic event, a mother and two daughters reunite at the house where it happened. But soon the reunion takes a bizarre turn, becoming a total nightmare.
Some guy's been breaking into people's homes, murdering the parents, and sparing the daughters.
So this is a very twisted, creepy movie that keeps you on the edge of your seat and guessing throughout. It gets disturbing and uncomfortable as it touches on some really unsettling topics. But it doesn't go where you think it will, with lots of surprises along the way. This is a great little gem, definitely worth checking out.
You just never know where the day's gonna take you.
So Coming Home in the Dark is a 2021 psychological thriller based on a 1995 short story of the same name by Owen Marshall. It's directed by James Ashcroft and stars Daniel Gillis, Eric Thompson, and Miriam McDowell. So it's about a school teacher who is forced to confront some brutal acts from his past when a pair of ruthless drifters take him and his family on a nightmare road trip.
Got a whole place to yourselves. So I should probably introduce myself, shouldn't I? Mandrake. I'm a magician. I make things disappear.
This movie is so shocking and disturbing. It goes in a brutal, dark direction quickly, making you invested into these characters. You can really feel their pain and fear as the story unfolds. But it also shows the villains and why they are who they are and what brought them to this place. It's also very well directed by James Ashcroft. The cinematography is fantastic and just overall creative design of this movie is amazing. But the cast is what really makes this movie something special. Especially Daniel Gillis and Eric Thompson. They just give gripping, moving performances. This is a grim, violent, gritty movie, but a well done one, and one I definitely think you should check out. So Raw is a 2016 French-language sexual awakening horror movie. Written and directed by Julia Ducournau and stars Gareth Millier and Ella Rumpf. So Raw tells the story of a young vegetarian girl who's in her first year at veterinary school. But when she tastes meat for the first time, she develops a craving for flesh. This movie gets very gruesome with lots of bloody body horror, but it really is an allegory for sexual awakening, done in a beautifully disturbing way. I was just absolutely enthralled by this movie from beginning to end, and like a car crash, found myself unable to look away. For fans of slow burn, artfully done horror movies, this is an absolute must. So The Mist is a 2007 sci-fi horror movie, directed by Frank Darabont and based on the 1980 novella The Mist by Stephen King. It stars Thomas Jane, Marcia Gay Harden, and Nathan Gamble. So after a powerful storm damages their home, a man and his son go into town to gather food and supplies. But soon after, a thick fog rolls in, engulfing the town, and creatures begin to emerge, trapping them and the others in a grocery store.
Something in the mist! Shut the doors! Shut the door!
So cosmic horror is one of, if not my favorite subgenre of horror. It's what I find to be the most disturbing that just gets under my skin. And this is one of the very best in the genre.
Are those bugs?
Not like any I've ever seen.
The mysterious way this movie builds is absolutely fantastic. It just never gives you too many answers, leaving just enough of the terrifying unknown. And it's haunting how the people react to each other in this film, making you question who the real monsters are. Sadly, it's eerily similar to what we saw in the beginning of 2020, just adding another layer of terror to this. This movie is just so disturbing and uncomfortable. It really gets under your skin and just sticks with you. So do yourself a favor and make this the next movie you watch.
What do you have to say to your fans?
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Natural born killers.
So Natural Born Killers is a 1994 crime drama thriller, directed by Oliver Stone and stars Woody Harrelson, Juliette Lewis, Robert Downey Jr., and Tommy Lee Jones. So the film tells the story of two victims of traumatic childhoods who become lovers and mass murderers, becoming irresponsibly glorified by the mass media.
Feared by thousands.
I love you so much, baby.
I love you.
Watched by millions.
We're fighting. Can't stop fate, nobody can.
This is a Bonnie and Clyde story on acid. When this came out in theaters, I remember me and my friends going to see this over and over and over that summer. We had to have seen it at least a dozen times. It was like nothing I'd ever seen before. It just shocked me and changed my world, and I loved it. It's gritty and violent, visceral and unrelenting, and it just has so much style. It feels dirty and ugly, but there's a poetic beauty to it as well. It's masterfully shot and directed with amazing performances by this legendary cast. This is just an absolute classic and one that should be on the top of anyone's list.
Search the hospital!
Nobody needs to get hurt.
I mean, he's a head case. Put down all your guns! What have you done to my family? Where'd you take my family?
So Fractured is a 2019 psychological thriller. It's directed by Brad Anderson and stars Sam Worthington, Lily Rabe, and Stephen Tobolowsky. So after his wife and injured daughter disappear from an emergency room, the man becomes convinced that the hospital is hiding something secretive and dark.
It's been hours.
You know how much longer it's gonna be?
What was her name again?
Perry Monroe.
I'm not seeing a Perry Monroe. There hasn't been a scan since 9 o'clock this morning.
So what are you telling me?
They're not here.
This is a surprising movie because for a Netflix original, it really has impact. It's unsettling and tragic, yet a fun mystery at times as well. And every time you think you have it figured out, it just takes another turn. But the thing I love the most about it is the way it plays out. It gives you a chance to kind of see things from all different sides, all different outcomes, and all different scenarios. I also really appreciated that this movie took some chances. It went dark and it went some places that you didn't necessarily expect it to. Just in general, this is a fun watch and one I definitely recommend. So Creep is a 2014 DIY found footage horror movie, written, directed, and starring Patrick Brice and Mark Duplass. So it's about a filmographer who's hired to film an eccentric man who wants to make a movie for his unborn son.
So the reason I've hired you is because I have terminal brain cancer, and I want you to film me to make a video diary for my unborn son.
You ready for this?
But his requests become more and more bizarre as the day goes on, becoming dark and terrifying. So this is a slow burn that just creeps up on you, and as it goes along, it just becomes more and more unnerving, unsettling, and disturbing. It gets very uncomfortable, leading to an absolutely savage ending. This is a really fucked up little gem that you definitely need to see.
You don't wonder what it tells me. It says I should be afraid of you.
So His House is a 2020 horror thriller. Written and directed by Remy Weeks, it stars Wunmi Wusaku, Sophie Durisu, and Matt Smith. It tells the story of a refugee couple from South Sudan who struggle to start a new life in an English town with a horrifying evil lurking beneath the surface. What a masterful film this is. This movie gets very bleak and emotional at times, and the performances by both leads are just fantastic as well. They're so powerful and moving that you can't help yourself but be invested in their story. And the horrifying fact is that so much of what's in this movie, even though it's fiction, is really based on real stories and real world incidents, just adding another layer to the uncomfortability of this movie. This is truly a haunting film that's deeply disturbing. I really believe this is one of the most underrated horror movies out there right now, and an absolute must watch.
He had a gun.
He's 2 murders away from completing his masterpiece.
Have you ever seen anything like this?
No. 7.
So Seven is a 1995 neo-noir psychological thriller. Directed by David Fincher and written by Andrew Kevin Walker, it stars Brad Pitt, Morgan Freeman, and Gwyneth Paltrow. So the film tells the story of 2 detectives that partner together to track down a serial killer who uses the 7 deadly sins as motif in his murders.
There are 7 deadly sins. Gluttony.
You're gonna come take a look at this?
Greed.
No one touches anything.
Sloth. Wrath. Pride. Lust. And envy. 7. You can expect 5 more of these.
So this is one of the best crime drama thriller horror movies ever made, second only to probably Silence of the Lambs. The imagery in this is what really sets this movie apart. It looks wet, dark, and gritty, absolutely nightmarish. From scene to scene, it has images that'll just burn themselves in your brain, really sticking with you. Besides that, it tells a terrifying story that keeps you uncomfortable and guessing the entire time. With some absolutely shocking moments, this is a brilliant film that definitely needs to be on your list.
Please, Lord, forgive us.
So Apostle is a 2018 period drama horror movie, written, directed, and edited by Gareth Evans, and stars Dan Stevenson, Lucy Boynton, and Michael Sheen. So when a prodigal son returns home, only to learn his sister is being held by a religious cult. Determined to get her back, he travels to the remote island where the cult lives. As he infiltrates into the island's community, he learns of corruption in the cult and of an evil far worse than anything he could have ever imagined.
God is suffering.
Beware false prophets which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves.
Let us begin.
This movie is brilliant. It just looks gorgeous, with outstanding cinematography and overall direction. The acting is also on point at a high level from everyone, and the score is moody and haunting, just really transporting you into this world. Really, everything about this movie is well done. And there are moments in this movie that are just straight up jarring, that'll really get to you. It's artistic and creative, yet never feels slow or boring. This is a warped, demented movie that really deserves more attention. So if you've never seen this, do yourself a favor and check it out. Alright guys, that's going to do it for me today. Please leave your comments down below. Let me know if there's anything else I need to check out on Netflix, because your recommendations help me out so much. Also, if you could do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and ding that little bell, because that is the best way to keep track of this channel. And when I post videos like this, and I post videos like this every single week, I also want to give a huge, massive, enormous thank you to my patrons, because you guys, your support seriously means so much to me. And if you would like to find out more about becoming a patron, the link is down in the description. And like always, thank you so much for watching. Please crush that like button. And remember guys, horror can be fun. I will see you guys next time.